on the line. Her name is Erin Lawrence. Mike Agerbo here in studio with John Biehler. We got a really cool program today, John. Coming up, we have the folks from Wiser Energy. These are the Schneider Electric guys here in Vancouver. They've come up with a device that you can have installed on your breaker box in your home, and then through your app on your smartphone or tablet, it'll show you how much energy and how much it costs for every single electrical device in your home.
So you can charge your kids.
Yeah, you damn kids. Your PlayStation's costing me $20 a month in electricity. It's really cool. So we're going to get the lowdown on that. We'll also be talking about smartwatches and how one athlete is using it for training and recovery. So
not just any athlete.
No.
This guy is a star tennis player.
Yes.
Vasek Pospisil. And he's going to be in studio.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So like an actual professional tennis player.
Yes.
And, if you're in the market for any type of health tracker or fitness tracker, be it an Apple Watch, a Fitbit, or in this particular case, a Huawei smartwatch, you'll want to listen to this segment because you're going to get a lot of information out of it. Also, we've got our good friend Erin Lawrence on the line in a little bit to talk about cooking gadgets that you could give as Christmas gift items. I mean, there's some really cool cooking tech that could make even someone like me a good cook.
Or me.
Or you, yeah, or both of us. Let's talk about Life Labs. So a lot of people in BC and Ontario use these labs to get their blood work done, among many, many other things. Well, now the internet knows all about you.
Yes. Which is horrifying that this particular cyber attack affected 15 million customers.
So what kind of information did they get? Names, addresses, emails, health card numbers, and lab test results. And didn't they ransom them as well?
Yeah, Life Labs consulted with a number of cybersecurity experts who thought it was a good idea to pay them ransom to get that data back.
So it was gone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, no, I think they have a copy of it.
Yes.
And they paid to get that copy back. But the nice thing about data is you can copy it again. So you can only assume that all of this data is still out in the wild.
Why the hell would they pay to have it come back?
I don't know.
When they already have a copy.
Right.
Isn't that kind of crazy? Because if I was the bad guy, yeah, sure, here's the one copy that I have.
Right.
Said no bad guy ever.
It's like the premise of every bad Hollywood movie.
I don't know what to do about this, John. Every week we've got some new hack where some idiot corporation or government organization has lost our personal information, our private information.
That we just give them because we trust that they're actually going to do something secure with it.
I think there has to be some type of stronger regulation in place for security on people's information with high fines for people that lose it.
Well, I actually thought that was already in place with your medical health records. And
John, you were dead wrong.
No, well, there's this expectation of security and privacy, especially when it comes to stuff like that, because of the government connections with all that stuff. Nothing is 100% secure, which is probably the big lesson here, but it's quite horrifying to find out that such a huge hack could happen in this day and age. And there's really not a lot of recourse that the average person has.
How am I going to protect myself against that? I got to get my blood done?
Yeah.
What? I'm going to go in with a false name? Mike Smith?
Well, maybe that's one trick that they can use to anonymize your data.
Or do they have to, for this type of information, do we have to going to the big guys that have much more money to spend on protecting data, like an Apple or a Google? And I know those guys are getting into health record information. Yeah. Would it be safer then, do you think? I think I'd trust Apple now more than some of these places.
True, but there's always going to be that the corner shop lab that you're going to have to go to, right? Is Apple going to own all those as well?
Yeah, they can make money. I'm sure they will. Quick one here, John. Nikon is shuttering its authorized repair program. What does this mean for Nikon camera owners?
What this means is you can't go to a third party to repair your camera gear.
Okay, so
You
like
have
one
to-
of these camera stores or whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
You actually have to send it back to Nikon. And from what I understand, that's only 2 places in the US, one in New York and one in LA.
Sorry, none in Canada.
Right.
So if my camera, my Nikon camera, is busted, I can't go locally. I can't even go into my own country.
I don't think so.
We'll have to check in on that more.
Yeah, it's just one of those things that kind of makes sense because the technology is what it is. And for Nikon to provide the stuff to third parties, but also, is this a bigger issue with the fact that maybe Nikon's business is contracting as well?
Okay, so we've got a lot to talk about on today's program. Before we get to some of that, I just want to give a shout out to our contest. It's going till December 31st. We're giving away an Epson EcoTank ET 4670 printer.
4760.
4760. I'm sorry, 4760. I'll correct that. You can go to our website, getconnectedmedia.com, and it's right on the front page, or go to the newsletter tab. If you subscribe to our newsletter, you get entered into the contest. And the great thing about being part of our newsletter, our e-newsletter, you will also be entered into every other contest we have going forward.
Yes.
So you don't have to keep entering.
No.
It's like a dream. Plus, you'll get some great tips and tricks and tech news on a regular basis.
And recipes from Mike.
Right. Yep. Bad recipes. And also, we're giving away an Alcatel 3V smartphone. This is a great smartphone. Beautiful screen on it. These are the same guys, TCL, that make all the wonderful TVs as well. And they've put that technology into a small little smartphone screen. Well, it's not small. It's 6.7 inches.
It's a really nice big screen.
It is a beautiful, beautiful phone. Again, getconnectedmedia.com is our page. You can go there. They're right up on the front page. You'll need to sign up for our e-newsletter, but again, you'll be entered into all the contests going forward. Also, at the end of this show, we'll tell you more about it later on the program. We've got a viewing party. We have got the folks that have written a great book all about your digital legacy. It's the Digital Legacy Planning Book, and we will be having this watch party on YouTube. If you go to our website, getconnectedmedia.com, you can get more information about it. When we come back from the break, cooking tech, some great gift ideas for the tech cooker in your life. The holidays are coming. Christmas, Hanukkah, many others that I can't remember right now. And holidays mean family. And a lot of times you have big family dinners, and that can kind of be stressful because you want to cook a nice meal. Well, can technology help? Well, we think so. We've got our cooking tech expert, Erin Lawrence, on the line from Calgary, Alberta. She's with TechGadgets.com. Really great website for checking out all the latest in tech lifestyle gear. Thanks for joining us, Erin.
Thanks, you guys.
Let's talk about some of the tech that people can use for cooking. One type of tech I've been using is sous vide over the past year. These are these sticks that you stick in water and then boil your food. Does that sound appetizing? No, not the way I described it, but maybe you can take it a step further, Erin.
Yes, you're talking about sous vide cooking, and it's kind of like boiling your food, but the results are a lot more pleasant. So sous vide cooking uses these devices. There's a couple that we can talk about. One is called the Joule, Joule. And the other one is called ANOVA. And what you do is you essentially put these devices into a big pot of water, and this controls the temperature of the water down to like 0.5 degree or something. So it allows you to cook your food to the absolute perfect temperature, no matter what you're cooking, without ever overcooking it, because the water bath that the food is being cooked in never goes above that temperature. So if you're cooking meat, for example, and I should say you do need to cook when you're using sous vide, you do need to cook it in something. So usually a Ziploc bag or a vacuum packed bag or even a mason jar in some cases. You put your food in there, put that in the water bath, and then you dial in the appropriate temperature. And both of these devices come with companion apps that will help you determine what that temperature is and exactly how it should be cooked.
So just for the listeners who haven't tried this before, it really is amazing how perfectly it will cook. I mean, we're talking meat right now, but you can cook vegetables and all kinds of things as well. But some of the best, chicken I've ever had has been cooked sous vide. Like it just cooks it thoroughly, like 100% perfectly. And after you finish cooking it, you then sear it, like either on, in a pan or barbecue, for example.
I have the Innova, and my favorite thing to do is asparagus because I have a vacuum sealer. And
Of course you do.
Well, you put all this stuff in there.
Yeah.
So you put, your seasoning, your, pepper, salt, butter, whatever would normally put on it after the fact.
Yeah.
You put it all in there, you seal it up, you throw a couple in your fridge, and then they're just ready to drop in the water whenever you're ready. And it's perfect every single time. You can't screw it up.
My wife hates them because she just thinks technology is ruining our lives. And she sees the sous vide as technology.
Has she been to the office?
I know. But it does take longer, though, doesn't it, Erin?
It can for a lot of things, yes. But the good thing is with something like Christmas dinner, if you're cooking the holidays and you want to just get your vegetables done, your carrots, your root vegetables, your parsnips, whatever, put them in that water bath, in the morning or in the afternoon, get them most of the way there. And then you can finish them off, like you said, give them a nice sear in the pan or just give them a little bit of browning in the oven. And then you don't have to worry about it. It's not as though you've got to try to precisely time out that dinner. If you can use the sous vide, you can hold it at that perfect temperature.
So you've tried a couple of different models. Did you notice a difference between the two, or are they all kind of basically the same?
They are basically the same. I mean, some of them will have differences in their display or what their app interface looks like. I think there's a slight difference in price among the two of them, probably 30 or 40 bucks or so. But they both do a pretty good job. The Joule tends to be a little smaller and more compact than the Innova machine, if space is a consideration for you. But the other thing I will add, things that you can sous vide that you probably never thought of. Sous vide egg bites, the Starbucks sous vide egg bites, if you like those, you can make those at home and they are delicious. You can also do things like custards and puddings, and you can infuse vodka.
For our alcoholic listeners out there. Thanks, Erin. What have you infused vodka into?
Well, you infuse flavor into the vodka. So
Okay,
if you wanted like a strawberry essence in the vodka without adding strawberries,
like actually making flavored vodka.
Exactly.
Oh, wow.
Infused flavored vodka. And it does a really good job. I've only tried it once or twice.
I'll have to look at that. You know what I sous vide one time? That was amazing. Prawns. I had some raw prawns, and they cook in no time. But it was awesome because I cooked them, but then I chilled them in ice and served them as a prawn cocktail. They were the most perfectly cooked prawns I've ever eaten in my life. And I just
amazing for fish. Yeah. It's so easy to overcook fish that doing it sous vide, you just can't go wrong. Yeah,
so you can go nuts with this, right? You get the stick, and some people buy special tubs to cook this. Yeah, John, I'm looking at you, John. Do you have a special tub? I bet you do.
I do have a special tub.
I just have a big pot. Yeah. And it has a clip on it, right? So it'll clip onto anything.
It will. But the thing is, it depends on the material that the pot's made out of.
Yeah.
Because that's why I have the special thing. It's the giant Pyrex ones that typically is used for food prep in restaurants.
Yeah.
And then they have a lid, and I just literally cut a hole in the lid so it actually fits in there perfectly, and it seals the top so you don't lose any of the air temperature.
My wife would love to have that crap sitting on the kitchen counter.
Well, I also 3D printed a stand for mine too.
Of course you did, you nerd. Oh my God.
Way to go.
But again, the pricing on them, Erin?
The Joule's about just under $300 Canadian, and the Innova is about $270 right now. Although, of course, these things go on sale around this time of year, so you might be able to get a really good deal.
Let's talk about some other cooking tech. What else have you tried out?
Well, I've tried a wireless meat thermometer, a wireless digital thermometer, and it's called Meter, MEATER, not METRE.
I get it.
And what you do with this one is you tuck it into, let's say you're roasting a chicken. You tuck it into the raw chicken before it goes in the oven, connect it to the companion app, and then it will notify you when the chicken reaches the perfect temperature, for example. So you leave the thermometer in while it's cooking, but there's no wires, so you can move around your house and just get alerts on how your cook is going. You can see, it'll estimate for you how much longer it's going to be. So this is great for your Christmas turkey, because a lot of us get mystified when we only cook a giant bird once a year. And it's like, well, when's it going to be done? I'm not quite sure. This device, the Meter thermometer, will tell you.
Okay, so I have a question here, because I kind of like the idea of this, but like, how sturdy is this thing? Like if I use this on my barbecue, for example, like I can get my barbecue pretty freaking hot. Like, am I going to burn this thing?
These are actually also made for the barbecue. I tried this out in the summer while grilling, and you can leave them in the barbecue. If you're doing like a low and slow cook, that's great. If you need to sear some steaks, you can do that too, and it's not going to harm them.
And so you didn't burn these out in like a week.
I did not burn them out in a week. No,
What-
still using it.
What kind of price point are on those?
There's a meter version that's sort of the basic version, which is about $120, and the meter plus, which gives you a little more range that you can travel from the oven and still get those alerts, is about $170.
Does it call you with its voice? I'm done. Get me out of the oven. That's what
Let me out now.
That's what I would do if I had to make the plus version.
You and your sound effects.
I know. Any other fun cooking tech items?
Yes, I think for your holiday dinner, you definitely need fresh herbs for the stuffing, but they are so expensive in the grocery store. Why not grow your own? If you're living in Alberta like I am, you realize that's all but impossible in the winter. So try out something called the Click and Grow Smart Garden. And what this is a indoor garden essentially, but it comes with all the light, a reservoir for water, and you basically put in these seed pods that you can get for it. You can choose from any number of herbs, small plants, mini tomatoes, lettuces, parsley, sage, rosemary, and thyme for your stuffing. Drop these pods into this garden, plug it in, and the light cycle on it will mimic a cycle of daylight. So it's getting all the light it needs. You fill the reservoir with water, and basically once you're done that, these herbs will grow on their own and keep growing for months.
You know what we call that in BC? We call that a grow up. How big is this thing?
You can get different sizes. There's a 3-pod version that's probably about 12 inches in length or so. You can get a 9-pod version, which is obviously much larger. And then I think there's also a 27-pod version if you're really taking this seriously.
If I remember correctly, the 3-pod version, kind of about the size of a toaster. Would that be right?
That's about right, yeah. And then depending on how tall your plants are growing, you can add little extensions, I guess, to the lighting grid that hovers above it so that your plants can keep growing and keep drawing those plants up towards the sky. Perfect
for the prairies in the wintertime. I love it.
That's right.
We're talking with Erin Lawrence from TechGadgetsCanada.com. I encourage you to check out her website. She's got a lot of great articles and reviews up there. Again, TechGadgetsCanada.com. Thanks for joining us, Erin.
Thanks for having me.
Let's chat about energy monitoring. We obviously use tons of energy in our homes for literally everything from the lights to the heaters to the TVs and all our connected devices. Well, how much money is going out? We don't really have a big sense other than our monthly bill. But wouldn't it be great if you could get more micro and actually see what is drawing the most power? Well, there's actually a solution for that. On the line, we've got our good friend Adrian Thomas from Schneider Electric. Thanks for joining us today.
Yeah, it's great. Good to be here, Mike.
Adrian, I wanted to get you on the line because we had a chance to have a look at one of your devices. I actually featured it on one of my global news segments as well. It's the Wiser Energy Home Monitoring Unit. This is a device that you or probably an electrician would install on your breaker box and then would essentially give you data through the Sense app on your smartphone, basically breaking down all the different things in your home that are taking up energy and how much. Did I get that right in a nutshell?
I think you got it very well, Mike. And I would say, I think it does more than just give you your energy. I think it gives, we like to say, it gives your home a voice in two ways, because it is showing you what you're consuming and what is consuming that energy. But you can also have smart notifications. So it can trigger, a personal example from us at our house. We have teenagers using the laundry machine and things like that. And it'll know when the electricity of the washing machine goes on, goes off, and it can trigger and send me a push notification. Some people use it to look at, hey, did my garage door go up when I wasn't? So you can send notifications as well. So it's great for energy monitoring, and it also gives your home a voice.
How does it know what all the different things are in the house?
Yeah, this is I think the innovative part of this device. It actually uses signal analysis, and one of the IoT trends that we hear a lot about is big data, and so it actually analyzes the electrical signals to identify which appliance is turning on and off. Now, it does take up to a couple weeks for it to identify and learn what you have in your home, but then it can tell what is happening and what is using the energy and give you that real-time feedback.
That's kind of cool. I could see how it would probably figure out what the washing machine is, what your stove and your fridge is, but can it get a little more micro, like the coffee maker or your TV, that type of thing?
So it can, and it really relies a lot on learning. So the first few times you will turn things on and off. It may not recognize it, but it will. I can tell you from personal experience. It even knows some of the lights which go on and off. Now, it may not be perfect, but it does learn over time, and it gets more and more accurate. But it can identify things, laser printers, pumps, fridges, freezers, all the general things that you would have in your home. It's getting winter. It'll identify space heaters, and that can be a good thing if you're traveling. And you may be wondering, hey, did I forget to turn off my space heater? Did I leave a curling iron or some appliance on in the home?
We should clarify that this won't give you the ability to turn that off. That device is just to monitor and be aware of its being turned on.
That's correct. Yes, it's only a monitoring device. So if you do want control, you would have to look at installing some other either outlet that has control or some other way to control the appliance. No, you're correct. It only gives you the information about what's going on.
So just a quick question. It learns all the different devices. Are you able to help that by telling it what it is?
No, it does have some smarts in terms of you can connect it to if you have certain internet-enabled items, so it can actually look at things like your Wi-Fi signals and is there a certain trigger turning a device on or off, but it learns over time. So there's no way to kind of force a learning mode. But you do notice the majority of your devices will be picked up in a period of about 2 weeks.
Can it differentiate between like your Xbox and a laptop or anything like that, or is that too granular?
That would probably be too granular. And you think what it does is it looks at electrical signatures and consumption. So if you have two devices that are exactly the same, so if your Xbox and a desktop computer that have very similar signatures, it'll be difficult to differentiate, particularly if they're at the same plug, right? If they're on different branch circuits, it may pick up the difference.
So this is all this information is going to an app. It's called the Sense app. You can download it for your smartphone or your tablet. So you're getting this information. It's telling you how much energy it's consuming, but it's also giving you the cost of that energy as well, correct?
Yeah. You program in, when you do the setup, you program in what your local rates are, and then it'll track that, and it'll tell you exactly how much you're consuming. Another nice feature is it kind of gives you a comparison with other similar homes. So you can tell it where you live. So, for example, I live in Quebec, and then how big your house is, and then it'll give you a comparison in terms of are you using less or more than average. So it does give you kind of a consumption of how you're doing versus people in your region.
One thing I liked about the app was that it gives you sort of the bubble view, as I call it. I'm not sure that's the technical term, but it shows you in your household all the big energy consumers by the size of the bubble that they've been assigned. And so you can quickly see what the big energy draws are in your house at a glance.
Yes. And I think, for those people that are looking at this from how can I contribute to a more sustainable future and cut my energy usage, there's an interesting bubble which is called always on. So over time, it'll notice that certain things are remaining on for a long time, and so if you're looking to cut your energy usage, that can give you some insights in where are some of these things happening. And it also shows you, which I think sometimes we don't realize, is how much energy certain appliances actually consume. And that is eye-opening. You can click on those bubbles, and there's a graph view where you can dive into the device itself and see specifically, how long how many times that device was on or off over a period of time. And, if you've inputted your how much your electricity costs, it'll also tell you on average how much it costs to operate that device.
So the idea here is obviously to make you aware of all the devices in your home, how much energy they're using, but to help you save money as well. Because if you're finding that the washing machine is sucking up so much juice because the kids are washing a pair of pants every few hours, that's a behavior that you could talk to the family about.
Certainly. And another one is, if you have a heat pump or air conditioning unit or heaters, that's another thing you can see yourself. Hey, if we're going to try and set the thermostat 1 degree lower in the winter or a degree or two higher in the summer, you can actually compare it to previous months or the previous year if you've had it for that long, and see if you're saving any energy.
We're talking with Adrian Thomas from Schneider Electric about the Wiser home energy monitoring unit. It's a device that you have installed at your breaker box, and it learns how much power all the different things in your house are basically eating up. What kind of costs are involved with this, Adrian?
So the device itself is less than $500. As you mentioned, it is something you install in your breaker box. So we would recommend you use an electrician to install this, but it is only 2 CTs that clamp in, so it's a relatively straightforward installation.
John's looking at me saying he could install it. Then I'm thinking to myself, I'd get an electrician.
Because you get electrocuted.
Because I'd burn the house down, essentially. But so even if you did get an electrician, it's not a long install, so it's not that costly.
That's correct, yeah. Electrician could do this in less than an hour.
Fantastic. Adrian, where can people find out more information about this?
Certainly. You can go to our website, schneiderelectric.com/CA for our Canadian website. It is available online through Home Depot, and then in person, or electricians can get it at any one of our authorized distributors.
Thanks for joining us today, Adrian.
Thank you very much. Hope you learned something, and thanks for having me.
That was Adrian Thomas from Schneider Electric talking about the Wiser home energy monitoring unit.
I've got a very interesting interview for you right now. We're actually joined by Vasek Pospisil. He's a professional Canadian tennis player, and he's going to talk to us a little bit today about how he uses technology to be one of the sort of top Canadian athletes that we have. Welcome to the show.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys. Yeah.
So this is exciting because obviously we're a technology show, not a sports show, but nevertheless, we start to see how technology really does cross into all areas of life. But with sports specifically, technology is used significantly to help give athletes an additional edge. Can you talk to that at all?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, there's actually quite a bit of this, technology movement in sports, I guess. Well, I mean, I can speak for tennis specifically. Me currently, I mean, I have a smartwatch that I use, which is maybe not as much as the advanced, technology that's out there. We can get into that in a second, but I do have a smartwatch, which, it's more for myself, just to kind of monitor my heart rate when I'm playing. I do play with it, practice with it. I don't play matches with it, but and you kind of get, can get pretty good data. I'm using the Huawei, the the GT2 series, and so I just kind of gives me a ton of features to kind of see how my body is feeling at the time, based on my heart rate and resting heart rate, and but then there's actually a ton of other stuff that I've been doing as well that we can get into.
When I think about again, your profession is your body, your mind, your health. Do you must record everything? Like, you must track like what you eat and sort of how much sleep you get and all these sorts of things.
Yeah, definitely. Well, yeah, the sleep pattern, for example. I mean, that's actually one of the things that I use with the watch. That kind of tracks my sleep patterns, and not so much with the nutrition, which is actually funny because that's one of the things obviously there are options out there, but I haven't really been tracking necessarily my calorie intake or not, because I just feel like it's so much about, how you feel, like what your body tells you. It's like, okay, like, I feel like I'm quite in tune with my body over the years, especially as you get older. You kind of get more experienced with how your body's feeling and what the signs are of, so it's tough to put everything, there's still a human aspect to it, but
Sure, yeah.
But there's there's a lot of just in general, like technology right now is going into tennis. There's match analytics and statistics, which I use, which I actually, if I'm playing an opponent, there's tons of information. These days it's not cheap. You actually have to pay somebody to kind of dive deep and analyze patterns or what your opponent might like to do. So he'll go and he'll look at the last 3-4 matches that they played, and and then in the training, that's in competition. In the training, there are obviously a ton of different things that my fitness trainer will use when we're training.
And do you find that the data or those technologies actually change? Like you actually you listen to that and you actually see the difference in the match per se?
I do actually. Well, in the match, it's funny because it's a balance, right? It's a balance between, because obviously, people are smarter than technology. Well, that's a bold statement, but
sure,
but when you're on the court, for example, and things are changing, right? So it's like you can go in with an idea, you can go in with a general tactic, and you might know, let's say if I'm playing tennis, I'll say, okay, my opponent, his favorite serve under pressure is let's say serve out wide to the backhand or whatever it might be. Mm-hmm. And so, there'll be statistics and analytics on that kind of information. But then once you're on the court and let's say you cover that serve a little bit, suddenly he'll adapt. He'll recognize that what his favorite serve is, and he'll recognize that he's lost, maybe a lot of the big points in the first set because you're covering that serve. So then suddenly that'll change. So there's always so it's good
adaptation.
You're always adapting. So it's good to have this in the back of your mind, but it's never, you need to know that, that necessarily won't be the reality once you're on the court. So it's just the more information you have, the better. Yeah. Information overload also isn't very good because you can kind of get into, right now you can have statistics on, it's crazy what you can do, but you still need to have just a couple pieces that you think are kind of vital.
You ever played a robot yet?
I have not, but I'm sure it's coming soon. I'm sure there'll be a robot in like 10 years or 20, 30 years who's like kicking our asses.
Right on. Well, let's talk a little bit about watches because obviously I was excited to sit down and chat with you today because we both wear the same watch from Huawei, the GT. You have the GT2. You're one up on me here. We gotta talk to someone about that. But anyway, no, it's cool. And it's interesting because a lot of people that I meet say, well, AJ, why the Huawei? Everyone else has the Apple watch, right? It's the most common one. And they're like, is it better? Because everyone wants the edge, right? And I'm like, it's not better. It's different. And for me,
looks better, I think.
Yeah, well, you know what? It's funny. We're on the same side of that.
No, I would agree. It looks like a real watch.
It looks like a real watch.
Yeah, but you also have a ridiculous amount of battery life too.
There are a ton of great features. I actually never had the Apple Watch, but I don't really see why I would after using the Huawei. Yeah. It's pretty amazing.
Well, and I think, and John, you could probably talk to this a little bit, but when Huawei came into the market, they really did sort of focus. First, around the design, it is beautiful. Actually, if you see that mine is on right now, so that's actually my rest screen. So that's actually, it never goes off. I always have the time. Okay, and they can do that digitally. It'll still, I don't have to charge it for a couple of weeks and I get that screen. It's incredible. Then it's not until I wake it up that it changes to my digital one. Yeah. But sorry, I was going to say, besides the design aspect, and I agree, I'm with you. I think it's a beautiful watch. They've put together a beautiful watch. They focused on health. Yeah. And they really sort of took that aspect as something that they wanted to sort of focus around. And so it's obviously got the built-in heart rate monitor. Yeah. And you were saying that you like to check your heart rate often.
I do. Even on court, because I wear it, right? So I wear it on the courts when I'm playing. It's almost like I just like to know. I like to know what my heart rate is. I can just kind of see, and I can kind of gauge whether I'm getting better or improving. I might, just based on, if I'm training and if we do a really long rally and I'm like, oh, well, like, I'm getting fitter or whatever, and it also can see my average heart rate of the day. And then I think especially like one of the big things that I use with it, which is, I'm also kind of peculiar that way. Like I like to know like my steps, and I like to know like how much did I really do today? Like, so I can gauge, okay, I felt like I worked hard. Did I really work hard? It's like, okay, I did. And then some days it's like, oh, I didn't really do enough today, or didn't move enough, so it's funny. I like to look at that. Like, I'm always like, how many, what did I do today? What are my steps? So it's great that it tracks all that. And
I found it funny last night, just as an example. I have a 5-year-old daughter, and I brought her upstairs to her room, and sort of as I was halfway up the stairs, my watch buzzed me and said, "Hey, you hit your 1,000 steps today."
Yeah, isn't that the best feeling?
It's like, the best I feel some gratification to that.
Yeah, it's like 10,000 steps today. I was like,
and
yes.
I play sort of old timers pickup hockey. Love the game of hockey. Do you play hockey at all?
I never got the chance.
No.
I mean, I was so tennis focused.
Yeah,
and I
of
played a bit
course.
of soccer and then a bit of road hockey, but never got into it.
Yeah. Well, so I got my 1,000 steps before I even played hockey. But like yourself, when I wear it. You don't usually need to wear a watch when you play hockey, but I like to sort of sit on the bench after a shift and just see how high I got the heart rate.
Yeah. I do. Yeah, I do the same thing all the time. I'm always like, I need to get higher. Like, how high? Yeah, it's cool. Yeah, it's funny.
You mentioned that you don't wear your watch though during a match.
During a match, I don't. Yeah.
Is there a reason for that, or is it just to get rid of the distractions?
Well, I have a wristband when I play in matches. When I practice, I don't put a wristband on my left wrist. So maybe it's to have the watch on. But the other thing is, I don't know. It's just like I just want my hand to be a little bit lighter.
Right.
I mean, that's kind of it probably doesn't make that big of a difference in terms of in terms of like the weight, but I just want it to be a little bit,
right.
If it's
I was just curious. It'd be interesting to know if your stats go through the roof versus when you're practicing
it would be
during
good
an
to know.
actual match when you're in the heat of the adrenaline and all that stuff.
Yeah,
or you could even cause some PR like Odell Jr. did with the wearing the watch onto the NFL field.
Oh yeah, totally. Yeah. I don't know. There aren't too many. I think there are a couple guys that wear watches when they play.
But it's not a rule that you can't.
It's not a rule that you can't. You can, but there aren't many. But I mean, I feel like. Yeah, why not?
It might be some interesting statistics
for sure.
to see that, if you haven't ever worn them before, if you're still at your same practice level,
maybe
or
I'm like hyperventilating. I don't even know it. I'm like,
So is there anything more that you'd like to see out of wearing technology while you're playing while you're practicing and you're sort of preparing for the game?
I mean, I think one of the things I find kind of cool, useful, it's already out there. I mean, I've already used it as you put on this kind of this vest, and it tracks how quickly you're moving. I mean, I feel like it's good because for me specifically, I feel like I'm performing my best when I'm pretty explosive on the court, right? So I think you can kind of gauge if you're a little bit, maybe a fraction or a step slower than you were when you were playing well, and you can kind of, okay, maybe I need to work more speed, so I think there's a lot of information, a lot of things you can take out of that. But I do use that sometimes. I mean, I know that in tennis now they're kind of talking about, bringing data onto the tennis court for fans when they're watching on TV, so you can actually. I don't know if they're going to do this, but I know they've been discussing it where, the fans can actually see on TV what their heart rate is.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah.
So you can it's more like interactive with the viewer.
Yeah. Because right now we have the speed of the ball.
Exactly. But in like real time, right? Even if you had the speed of the ball in real time, that'd be kind of cool, right? Because they always tell you the speed of the ball, like, okay, you serve, and then, but I'm sure there's a lot of, and they'll show you, how much ground a player has covered through, in the first
that's interesting
match, so you can see who's running more, who's spending more energy, and then
or how much force that you're putting on your racket even too.
Yeah, totally. So I think that I'm sure that's maybe not. I think it's coming soon for sure. It must be, but you have to. I'm sure there are some issues because you need to be plugged up. You need to they need to put something on you, right? So I'm not sure what the rules are with that.
So how long have you been a professional player for?
I turned professional when I was 17.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I actually had the choice of, the decision to make whether I go to college on a scholarship or turn pro. And it was at that age that I decided to turn pro, because once you turn pro, you can't really go to college on a scholarship anymore after. So it's a big decision, right? Because if you turn pro and you're not successful, then you have to, you you're kind of stuck. But so yeah, I turned pro when I was 17, and yeah, so far so good.
Very good. Yeah. And so what's next for you? What's your next match or tournament?
Yeah, next for me, I'm actually heading to Florida to train. Having a little bit of a later start to the training block because of Davis Cup, which we played a few weeks ago, which was very late into the year.
Which you did amazing in.
Yeah, which was an amazing, amazing week for the team and for Canada and tennis in Canada. And so next for me is, I guess the next big event would be the Aussie Open on the 20th of January.
Very good.
Yeah.
Well, we look forward to following you in your career and keeping an eye on the technology that you're engaging. And maybe as you start to embrace more technologies, come back and chat with us.
Absolutely. Would love to. Yeah.
Stick around. I want you after the show to visit our YouTube page. You can actually get to it from GetConnectedMedia.com. We all know that we have to have our wills done to let people know what to do with our worldly possessions when we pass. But what about your digital legacy? We've got the authors of a great book called the Digital Legacy Planning Book. We've got a watch party. We've done some great segments with them in our studio. Angela Crocker and Vicky McLeod, the authors, will be on those videos. I'll be interviewing them. Plus, you'll be able to chat with us and ask them questions as well.
That's
It's
right.
pretty cool.
We're all going to be there live, so you can ask questions about the topic. And I hear that Angela and Vicky might be giving away copies of their book.
And we will be giving away a prize as well.
Yeah.
So you'll have to check that out. Again, getconnectedmedia.com. Go to our page and you can get more information on how to check that all out. If you're concerned about your legacy, and you would be surprised at how much of our life is digital now, our photos, our Aeroplan points, all kinds of stuff like that.
What happens to my iTunes library?
It's gone unless you plan properly, John.
Yes.
So we'll teach you how to do that in this YouTube watch party. It's only half an hour.
Yep.
And the authors are right there on the chat side to answer your questions as well.
And us too.
That's all the time we have left. Visit getconnectedmedia.com for the contests. We're giving away the Epson EcoTank printer and an Alcatel smartphone. We'll see you again next time.